to Going Mad. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Vanessa.
And hello again.
Again.
So this week we're taking a little bit of a turn. Last week we did kind of the paranormal stuff. So this week is all true crime, except for one little piece. Today I will be talking about a kind of a crazy murder. It's weird. It's an interesting story. But it's from Brazil. I decided to go international this time.
Yes.
And Vanessa's going to be talking about the missing person case of Brian Schaefer. But first, she is going to be giving a spooky little update on a previous topic that we've talked about, and I'm not excited for it.
Me either.
I'm not excited about it. So, as always, you know where you can catch us. Facebook. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all of these. We're on everything. We're on everything. So, Vanessa, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So if you guys listened to our podcast before, you know I always do a little update when something spooky happens in my house. And this just happened last night, and Kaylee does not know what's about to happen.
No!
And I am scared just telling it because I'm here by myself right now. And I'm scared. But I thought, I owe it to you guys to give you all my spooky updates.
Oh, God.
So here's what happened. So actually, one little thing happened to Pat yesterday, and then something happened to me later that night. So he was about to leave, and he thought he heard our daughter right behind him say this. Because he thought, like, she was showing him a picture or something. So he turns around, and, of course, she's not there.
Dude.
And she's in her room. Yeah, he's like, I turned around thinking she was right behind me, and she wasn't. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I've been hearing that little girl's voice for, like, a while now. I haven't heard her in a while, but I heard her a bunch. And so he was just kind of weirded out by that. But, of course, he is still a non-believer, so whatever. But I'm like, you just heard a voice. How can you not believe? And this kind of stuff. But anyways, so later that night, oh, I'm so scared. Okay. I'm going to try to explain it, like my house layout to you, because then you can get a good picture of what's going on. So in my kitchen, if you look like in a right angle down my hallway, because my hallway is like L-shaped, you can look into my son's room. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, Kaylee? Like, if you're on the edge of the kitchen.
I sure do.
And so, anyways, and then directly across from my son's room, like almost directly across, is the bathroom. And so, Pat was giving Hunter a bath, and I came in the kitchen to grab my phone. And so I turn around, and like I said, if you can look like right in the right angle, you can see in Hunter's room. And so I turn around, and I saw Pat walking into Hunter's room. Like, I saw him walk into it. I saw him have like the towel draped on him, everything. So I'm like, oh, he got Hunter out of the bath. He's putting it on his changing table, because once you go directly in his room, you turn a little bit left into the changing table, and you can't see that person anymore. So I saw Pat walk in there. And so I start to talk to Pat about a topic we were talking about, walking into Hunter's room, right? I get to Hunter's room.
No, hell no. No.
Pat is not in there, dude.
No. Oh.
I turn around quickly because I'm freaking out. I turn around. As soon as I turn around, Pat's in the bathroom still. Hunter is still in the tub.
No.
I'm like, did you just walk in here? He's like, no, what are you talking about? I've been in here. I'm like, I literally just saw you walk into Hunter's room.
Dude.
Like, I freaked out. My jaw dropped. I was in shock. Nothing ever like that has ever happened to me, and I'm still freaking out, and I don't know. I mean, I saw him. It was him, but it wasn't, and now I'm confused.
I saw him, but it wasn't him, but it was him, but it wasn't him. But it was him.
So, yeah.
God, I don't want to come over. I don't want to come over.
Dude. Well, you're going to have to, and I'm sorry.
I don't want to.
And I'm scared.
I don't want to.
That's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. Because, Pat could tell something happened because my face, it was like, in
Should
shock.
I bring my sage and sage your house?
You know, I thought about that, but like I also read like, you know, people sage their house and it calms down, but then the activity starts back up, but it's even worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do yet.
You don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want anything worse than that.
I just got like chills all over.
It makes me want to throw up, honestly, just thinking about it, because it was plain as day him. Ugh, I don't like it.
No. How do you know he's
there
not
you
messing
go.
with you, though? Can I just say, I know Pat personally. How do you know he's not just messing with you?
No, he's not messing. I mean, he wouldn't have walked in. I mean, it was only seconds. Like, I literally saw him walk in, and then I was walking, like, right behind him. So there's no way he could have walked in there and walked out and, like, without me seeing him, because I was there the whole time. And he would have told me after I asked like 5 times, even though it's not possible. I'm like, did you walk in here? And he's like, no. I mean, Hunter was still in the bath. I saw it. Like, he wouldn't leave Hunter in the bath alone.
Yikes.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, I just heard a noise and it freaked me out.
What did you just hear?
Vanessa,
you're making me not want to come
talking.
over there on Friday. Jesus.
Sorry. I'm okay. It was just a random house noise. No big deal.
Or was it me going, meh? Was that what you heard?
No, it came from the kitchen.
Okay, well.
No. All right, let's stop talking about it.
This will be interesting. This weekend's going to be an interesting situation.
I heard another noise. It was my fridge, though. I'm just so on edge right now. I just heard you know how your fridge makes weird noises? Like,
yeah.
I'm so on edge. I need to stop. Let's talk about something else.
Okay, let's get into my Brazilian murder.
Yes, let's hear it.
So, this will be the story of Suzanne von Richthofen. For those of you who know who that is. So I just want to put this out there. I got this inspiration. I was watching, you know, I don't know if anyone else out there is obsessed with Bailey Sarian like I am, but if not, go check her out. She's freaking great. Anywho, she covered this story, and I think it's super interesting, and I wanted to cover it. So here we are. So Suzanne von Richthofen was born in 1983, and she lived in Brazil with her family. So they were a German family, and her father was the director of a state company for highway development, and her mother was a psychiatrist. And they were actually a very, very wealthy family. Like, they had some real money. Suzanne also had a younger brother who was born in 1987. Suzanne attended and graduated from a German high school and then went on to study law at a Catholic university. People said, you know, she was usually a very happy person and had a very good relationship with her family. And like I said, I mean, her family was loaded. So, in 1999, she ended up taking some Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes, and this is where she would meet her future boyfriend, Daniel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So at first, her parents were okay with Daniel. So Daniel is older than Suzanne. I believe he was, I don't know, quite a few years older, I believe. So anyways, like I said, the parents were okay with it at first, but then, you know, they noticed that he kind of was not such a great person. He was known for smoking that sweet ganj and just wasn't really going anywhere with his life. And for those of you that don't know what ganj is, weed. He smoked the weed. The devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce.
So, Mary Jane, marijuana. I could keep going, but I'm not going to. So, like I said, just he wasn't really going anywhere in life. He was just kind of, you know, smoking some doobs and just hanging out.
Out.
The parents tried to get her to end the relationship, but nah, wasn't gonna happen. But it got to the point. So the parents decided, hey, we're going to take a month-long vacation. Where they went, I don't know, but they took a month-long vacation.
Okay.
And Suzanne ended up moving her boyfriend into the house without telling them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And so when her parents returned, basically Suzanne was like, well, can you get me an apartment so that I can live there with Daniel? And, you guys have money, so you guys can pay for it. Well, her parents were like, hell no, we're not doing that. We're not going to pay for you to live in an apartment. If you want to move out, you're more than welcome to, but you need to get a job so that you can afford to move out. Like, we're not going to fund you living on your own with your crap head of a boyfriend. So, this is kind of where the relationship with her parents became kind of tense. And it was Daniel's fault. Let's be honest. It was Daniel. So ultimately her parents kind of gave her the ultimatum of either you can break up with Daniel or we're not going to give you any more allowance. Because that was a thing for her. I wish my parents still gave me an allowance. But here we are. So on October 31st of 2002, Suzanne and her brother decided they wanted to go to an internet cafe. And if you are younger than me, you probably don't know what an internet cafe is. An internet cafe, it's just a place. So this was really, this was in the early 2000s. An internet cafe is where you would pay to use a computer, and people would go and game, and they would yeah. So, and they were very popular in like the 90s and the early 2000s. So they went to an internet cafe to meet up with some friends, and they actually ended up meeting up with Daniel and his brother. So his brother's name is Christian. Daniel was 21 and Christian was 26. So here's where it gets scandalous. So earlier that day, little Susie decided she wanted to deactivate the alarm system and the security cameras.
Okay.
Yep. So, so they ended up all leaving the internet cafe except for the brother. The brother stayed at the internet cafe. And Susie, I keep calling her Susie. I don't think she goes by Susie, but I'm going to keep calling her Susie. Susie, okay. Daniel and Christian all went to the house, and Suzanne let them in through the gates, put them in the garage where the two boys kind of dressed up in, hoods and masks and stuff. And Suzanne had decided she was going to go into the house to make sure that her parents were there. Well, unfortunately for them, they were. Suzanne decided she was going to sit on the couch while the brothers went upstairs and beat the parents with iron rods.
Oh my God.
Yep. So
that's terrible.
Oh, it gets worse. So the parents basically would not die. They were clinging on to dear life. I shouldn't laugh. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. So Daniel kind of realized they are not dying, so he went into the bathroom and grabbed some towels and got them wet, and he put them over their face at first to kind of drown out the noise that they were making, and then he actually ended up using the towel to strangle them.
Oh my God.
Still didn't work.
No.
I shouldn't laugh. So then Daniel decided, hey, I'm going to go grab a jug of water and put the towel over his face, the dad's face, and try and drown him.
Oh my God. And she's just sitting on the couch listening to this, basically?
She's just sitting on the couch listening to it.
Oh my God.
So,
that's terrible.
Yep. So, unfortunately, this did kill the father. But the mother, though, she was still clinging. She's like, nah, I'm not going to die. Well, they weren't happy with that, so they decided to go grab a plastic bag and wrap it around, put it over her head and suffocate her.
That's so terrible.
Yeah. So very gruesome. Sorry, I should have put that disclaimer out there before.
Yeah, you should have.
Saying that. Whoops. So anyways, needless to say, both of her parents died. And like I said, Suzanne was just sitting in the living room letting it all happen.
Wow.
Just
how do you convince someone to do that too? That's messed up. It's all messed up.
I'll get there.
Okay.
I'll get there. So once the two had died, Suzanne did decide she wanted to go and make sure that they were dead and make sure that the deed had been done. And it was. So after the two had died, the three tried to stage some sort of break-in. They scattered like papers around and just kind of dirtied up the place. And then they took a little bit of money from the house. And when I say a little, I actually mean a lot. There were reports that there were items that had been left at the house, but the items that were left have been disputed, so I don't really know what was left. One report said that there was some sort of gun that had been left, but it's like, okay, well, why not use it then? So, who knows if that actually happened or not. But once they kind of staged the break-in, Daniel and Suzanne went to a hotel and booked a room, and Christian kind of just went to a fast food place to kind of show that he was somewhere else during the time. A little while later, Suzanne decided, okay, I'm going to go pick up my brother and take him home.
Okay.
And basically, like, stage how they discovered the bodies. So she goes and picks up her little brother from the internet cafe and takes him home. And like I said, this is where they, quote, discovered the bodies. And they called the police. So, basically the police were very, sus from the very beginning. Like, it wasn't, they knew that it wasn't just a normal break-in. They knew that someone involved or someone close to the family had to have been involved because the alarm system was disabled and the house didn't really look like it was a random break-in. So they kind of were like, nah, this has to be like an inside job. So at first they suspected both of the kids, but ended up narrowing it down to only Suzanne. The reason they suspected her was because on the next day was her 19th birthday. And she decided, hey, you know what I'm going to do? The day after I let my boyfriend brutally murder my parents, I'm going to throw a party.
Oh, wow.
So she threw a giant party.
That's
Once
so
again,
obvious.
I shouldn't laugh. Yeah. She threw a giant party, had all of her friends over. Her boyfriend was there. They were all hanging out in the pool and just having a great time. You know, like I said, the day after her parents died. So, yeah. Police were honing in on Suzanne and her boyfriend. But guess what Christian did? Guess what that dum-dum did?
What?
He took some of the money that they had taken from the house and went and bought a motorcycle 2 days after the parents died.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
these are some very smart individuals, guys, in case you're wondering. So, he decided, hey, I'm going to take some money. I'm going to go buy a motorcycle 2 days after I robbed these, murdered these people and took their money. And the police were like, yeah, no, this guy did it.
Like, yeah,
like,
where else
yeah,
would you
he
have gotten
did
the
it.
money?
Right, because from what we know, Daniel and Christian they didn't have money. They didn't come from a family of money. So it was just kind of out of character to have for him to have all of this money and then just go make a big purchase like that. So anyways, because of him buying this motorcycle, he was arrested and questioned. Suzanne ended up getting questioned as well, and that's when she broke down and confessed to the whole thing. In the media, there were a lot of issues believing the fact that Suzanne had done it, only because she was this really smart, really pretty young girl. Like, they just didn't think that she had done it. And then when you look at her boyfriend and his brother, like, they're tatted up and they look kind of sketch. And, like, they definitely would look like the type of person that would do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So most people just didn't believe that she had done it. They definitely only thought that it was Daniel and Christian. So during the whole process of them, you know, going to trial and all that, Suzanne ended up doing a TV interview that actually became kind of a big deal. Before the interview started, while the cameras were already rolling, Suzanne's lawyer decided he was going to coach her on how she should act during the interview.
Oh, okay.
Saying that she needs to cry a lot to get sympathy from the public.
Oh, God.
Literally what he was like, literally telling her while and then they released this. They released this portion of the interview. And then people were like, oh yeah, hell no, she did it. Like,
yeah, right?
Hell no, this girl did it. Like, her lawyer is literally coaching her on how to act about her two parents being murdered.
Yeah, if you have
Clearly
to be told
she
to
did it.
cry.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Clearly she had done it. So, or at least was involved in some way, you know?
Right.
So, like I said, the public were like, hell no. Okay, she's definitely involved. Like, there's no way. So, in 2006, she ended up going into trial, and it was said that she didn't get emotional at all. Like, she was just straight-faced. And it was said that she actually laughed at one point.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the boys were very emotional, crying on the stand, like, clearly remorseful about what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, she had been putting the blame on the boys the entire time. She said that she was so in love with Daniel, and she just looked at him like he was a god. So she just followed along with everything that he said, knowing that he was going to get... So in her mind, what she told people was, I let him do it because this is what he wanted to do. He needed, like, the money thing was a whole factor. I just let him do it because, I just loved him so much and he's a god. Ugh. No. No. Meanwhile, the boys were like, no, that was not the case. Suzanne's the one that came up with the plan, and we did it knowing that we'd get a big pay out of it. So they were all in it for the money. And Suzanne's motive, too, was she was set to inherit millions of dollars.
Dang.
With her parents dead. And I think I heard somewhere around 17 million.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, that would have been, she could have done whatever she wanted to do with her boyfriend or whoever, you know, like that was her motive, basically. She made a lot of really, really awful claims about her parents in court, stating that her father was abusing her sexually and that both of her parents were raging alcoholics. Just basically trying to make it look like they deserved it.
But she was you said 19. She could have left. They said she could leave. It's like, yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So, unfortunately for Suzanne's brother testified against her and said, nope, this is all bullshit. Like, no, this is not what happened. My parents were not abusive towards her. They were not alcoholics. And even the autopsy showed that they had no alcohol in their systems, which doesn't necessarily support the fact that they weren't alcoholics. But let me just tell you guys, I know a lot of alcoholics.
They always have alcohol in their system.
If they had if they were these raging alcoholics, like Suzanne said they were, they'd have alcohol in their system. Mm-hmm. Let's just be real. Like, no. They're not going to quit for one day and then that's just happens to be the day that they die. No.
Yeah.
So in July of 2006, all three of them were found guilty. Suzanne got 40 years in prison, and the boys both got 38 years. In 2008, Suzanne appealed, wanting house arrest which was denied. And in 2011, her brother ended up suing her for her half of the inheritance that she was supposed to get. So apparently in Brazil, there's this thing where if you are in prison and you have an inheritance, you are still able to claim it once you get out of prison.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's like, nah. Hell nah. You're not getting my money.
Yeah, even though, like, she was found guilty?
Yeah, so she was still able to claim her inheritance. And that's why her brother sued her. So he ended up winning, and he actually got awarded everything. So she wouldn't get anything, and he got it all. Also, an interesting thing about Brazil is if you're in prison and you're exhibiting good behavior, you get released for holidays.
Oh.
Yeah. So Suzanne was actually released for holidays. And I'm not sure exactly how much time they'd get out of prison, but yeah, she gets released till this day. I mean, she's still in prison, and she gets released for good behavior during holidays.
Interesting.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me, but whatever. I don't know. I'm not judging.
So, what year, do you know what year she's supposed to be released? Like, what her sentence?
Well,
because she would still be alive, I would say.
Yeah, she was, so in 2046, I think is when she is supposed to be released. Because, she was sentenced in 2006 and she got 40 years.
Okay.
So she's about...
I mean, yeah, she could definitely be alive still.
Oh, yeah, she will.
That time.
I mean, she'll be later in her life, but yeah. And the boys will, I think, as well, still be alive. But I didn't find anything on their incarceration details. But yeah, that's
crazy.
it. That's my story. That's the crazy ass story of Suzanne von Richthofen.
You know, I've heard stories kind of like that one where it involves rich parents and the kids, you know, get mad for whatever reason, and then they try to, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that Suzanne's the one that got the heavier sentence, because she was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder, whereas the other two were actually convicted of murder. So I don't know if it was like manslaughter. I don't know what level of murder they were convicted of, but it's crazy to me that conspiracy to commit murder would get more like a heavier sentence than...
Well, it's kind of like hiring a hitman. You know, like, I'm sure the person who hires that hitman's going to get longer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because like she had the intent, whereas these guys were just kind of did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really only, a 2-year difference. Anyways,
yeah, it's a 2-year difference. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's usually how it goes when people, like, conspire to kill someone and then they have someone else do it. Like, they still get more time because it was their they would still be alive if it wasn't for them, because they're the ones that came up with the idea, and yeah.
That's kind of where it makes me think of, like, Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
Where he never murdered anyone.
Right.
But he's the one who came up with the whole plan to do so.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense. Although I don't know if any one of his peeps have ever been released. I don't know. I think they've all been I think they've either died in prison. I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
I don't know either, yeah.
Interesting. So. Anywho, that's what I got. That's it.
All right. Good story. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a missing persons because I haven't done a missing person yet, so I thought I would do a little something different. So I've heard this case on a few other podcasts, which I try not to do big cases, but this one's just a real big mystery. So I thought I would go ahead and do it. And it is all about Brian Schaefer, and he was 27 years old in 2006. He actually lost his mother to cancer only about, I think, a month before he disappeared. So that's really sad. He was a medical student. He had a serious girlfriend. They planned on going to Miami for spring break. But April 1st is when Brian actually disappeared. And this all takes place in Ohio. He was going to college in Columbus, and so was she, actually. She was a medical student also, his girlfriend, Alex. So the main story really involves this bar, and it's called the Ugly Tuna Saloon, which, honestly, that's a great name for a bar, I think.
that's an awesome name. What a cool, just what a unique
Ugly
name.
Tuna Saloon. Yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was good. On April 1st night, Brian's girlfriend, what did I say earlier?
Alex?
Alexis? Did I say that? Alex?
I don't know.
It's actually Alexis. My bad. Alexis. Yeah, like I said earlier, she was a medical student, and she actually spoke with Brian for the last time around 10 p.m. on April 1st. She was actually visiting her parents in another town that night. It is known that Brian's father, and Brian's younger brother went out to have dinner together. After that, Brian went to the bar with a friend named Clint. Clint was also Brian's former roommate. They arrived around the bar around 9 p.m. They left the bar to meet up with a friend of Clint's. Her name is Meredith. They go to another bar at this point, drink a little bit, and then they decide to go back to the Ugly Tuna Saloon, and Meredith drives them there. So on surveillance at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, it captures all three of them entering the bar around 1:15 a.m. And how you enter this bar is on an escalator. So it's like as soon as you go in the doors, you go up an escalator, and they have a camera right there, like capturing everybody who's going in. So only about 45 minutes later, Brian is caught on surveillance again. He appears to be talking to what they call college-age women. They talk for a little bit, and then they part ways. So obviously, wow, I cannot talk. So, skipping that word.
Usually it's me that can't talk.
Yeah, I know. While you were... Side note, when you were telling your story, I swear I keep hearing noises, and I was freaking out the whole time.
I heard them.
You heard them too?
I did. Yeah.
It sounded like something fell or something.
I heard a little bit of a bang, and I looked at you. I don't know if you caught me looking at you, but I'm like, oh hell no.
Well, because I'm looking, because right now there's a wall in front of me, and so if I lean over, and I don't know, but anyway, so I'm still kind of on edge, guys. Sorry if I'm not all with it right now. Back to the story. Meredith, Clint, and Brian got separated, and Meredith and Clint thought nothing of it. Maybe he went to go hang out with somebody else, whatever. They tried to reach him by cell phone. He didn't answer. The bar closed around 2 a.m., and they waited outside the bar while everyone left, just to see if they could catch him leaving. Still no Brian. They didn't see him come out. They just thought he left without telling him. Maybe he just, got really drunk and went home. Whatever. Monday morning comes around. There's still no Brian. And this is when Alexis was supposed to leave. Him and Alexis were supposed to leave for Miami. They were supposed to catch a flight that morning, but he never showed up to the airport. This is when he was reported missing. His car was found near the bar, so knowing his car was not driven that night and it's been left there for, I think, a day or so, a huge search happened throughout the city. This is also when they reviewed the footage from the bar. The last known footage of him is after he was talking to the two women outside the bar. He was seen going back into the bar, but there was no footage of him leaving, and this is the big... crazy part of the story.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have said this or not. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Was there any sort of camera facing the back of the bar? Do they have any footage of the back of the bar at all? Do you know? Yeah,
so I get to that.
Okay.
Because you're saying another exit, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting to that. Okay. Everyone is accounting for leaving the bar but Brian. The only other exit of the bar is a door not really known to the public, kind of like a service door or like an emergency door. And that door was actually leading into a construction area, making investigators believing that it was almost impossible to take that door and get out.
Oh.
Yeah. There is other bars around this area of the Ugly Tuna. Those cameras were also checked, and they still could not find Brian on those cameras either. Everywhere was searched in the city, including dumpsters and sewers. There's no evidence really uncovered. So everyone close to Brian took a polygraph test, except for one person, and that was Clint. Which, polygraph tests are debated. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
they're
think you can
widely
even
disputed.
use those in court. Yeah,
You
so
cannot.
So him, everybody taking one and him denying is not a big red flag for me. Because, they can come up false reads, like if you're nervous or whatever.
Right.
So I just thought I would state that, but right now that's not a big red flag. Because he did cooperate with the police. He told them everything he knew. I mean, he, offered up any information he had. So the two mystery women that he was talking to, they were also cleared. And so there's nothing. There's literally nothing to go off on. There's only theories. One of the theories was him meeting foul play in the bar and that his body was put somewhere in the bar. I mean, I don't know how you could hide a body in a bar, but I don't know. That's just a theory. One is that he did go out that emergency exit and he fell into the construction, like in a construction hole, and later his body was accidentally covered up with cement.
Ooh, I like that theory.
Yeah, that's a really high possible theory to me. I mean, it makes sense.
I like it.
Another one that is he changed clothes and he wore a hat to be undetected when he was leaving the bar so he can go start a new life somewhere.
But, why would he do that?
Right. I mean, his mother did just die, but, he was in medical school. He was doing good. He had a trip planned with his serious girlfriend. I don't know about that theory. And, it's also noted, he didn't bring anything with him, like a bag or something where he could change his clothes, have different clothes or a hat or something, so.
Right. Unless someone was already there, unless he had previously set this plan up with someone else that would already be at the bar that could have possibly brought a bag in, but I think that's a reach.
Yeah. There is also one theory that he was undetected somehow by the security cameras, and he actually fell into the nearby river because he was intoxicated and he drowned. I mean,
I don't believe
this
that
is
one
2006. No,
I don't like that.
I mean, they had to review this footage 1,000,000 times. You'd think they would have caught him if he did leave.
Well, see, that's not the part that I don't like. The part that I don't like is the fact of if there's a body that falls into a river, the body would get so bloated that it would start floating. It's not like the body would just sink to the bottom. Then. Right. You would have found the body at some point.
Yeah. So, one really strong lead that they had was Brian's girlfriend would call his cell phone every day, and it would go straight to voicemail. She just kind of did it to, thought there was hopes that he was still alive and he would answer. One September 9th, so about 5 months later, she called again and it rang 3 times before going to voicemail.
Oh, shit.
So the phone pinged or pinned or whatever, only 14 miles away from Columbus is where they were at. This is where it was taking place. So it was only 14 miles away. Sadly, though, this went cold quick because the cell phone provider stated it could have just been a glitch. But I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, I personally think that he either was killed in some way and snuck out. His body had been, snuck out of the bar somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he was killed inside the bar and they threw him in the pit and he was covered with cement.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the best theory, is the whole going into the construction area. And
Right. Yeah, I do too. Sadly, Brian's father died only 2 years later after all this, so that only leaves Brian's brother left. His name is Derek. And Derek has said he doesn't think that his brother would have just up and left to start a new life or anything like that. He believes something happened to him. And, I mean, I don't know. That's just...
I agree. Sorry,
it's such a mystery. It's just... Okay, I'm sure police probably know something and keeping it a secret, but...
Well, and sometimes they do that because if some sort of information released, like if someone has some piece of information that was never released to the public, then that's how they know that someone was involved. So I'm sure they do know something, but they're keeping it close to the chest just in case someone slips.
Yeah. So I thought I would just add the description of Brian and the Columbus Police Department phone number, because you just never know in case you have any information, He would be around 42 years old. He was 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighing in between 165 to 170 pounds. He has 8 hazel eyes with brown hair, and he has a tattoo of a stick man from the Pearl Jam album on his right bicep. So if you guys have any information, the Columbus police number is 614-645-4545. And they said, they take all tips seriously, no matter how small. So, I mean, that's my case, and it's just so crazy because there's no evidence.
Yeah,
at all.
That's insane. Like, there's literally nothing.
Yeah, his bank account wasn't touched after he disappeared. His phone, other than that random ping, was never used. I mean, they didn't find any clues in his car. They didn't find any clues at his apartment. I mean, he just literally just vanished. That's why I'm thinking,
okay, so do you know if they've ever looked into the construction? Do you know if they ever looked into that at all?
I would believe, I did read somewhere that they use cadaver dogs, and no cadaver dogs picked up any scent, in the area or like in the bar or in that area.
Which is weird because he was in the bar. So something is throwing off the cadaver dog's scent.
I mean, that means he, that there was no, dead bodies in the bar.
Well, normally, though, the way that the cadaver dogs work is they give something to the dog that smells like the person, and then the dog...
No, that's not right. They are trained to smell like death, like dead bodies.
Well, then what am I thinking
of? Hound dogs? Search dogs?
Maybe. I don't know. I just know that there's some sort of dog out there that you give a scent to, and they have to sniff out that scent.
Search dogs, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. There's too many dogs.
Cadaver dogs are just trained to smell like death somehow. Yeah. And they didn't pick up any scents there. Those dogs. I read a lot of articles trying to find, more information, but I just found all the same information, and I didn't see where they might have tried to dig up the concrete or whatever, however you do that. I didn't find anything like that.
That's a little fishy to me, honestly. Like, if that were me, if that were my brother, I would want them to investigate a little bit more, because I know at the very beginning you said, that it wasn't really a feasible exit for him. They don't think that he went out that way, but that doesn't mean he didn't.
They said even sober people wouldn't be able to go out that way, and he was known to be drinking all night. So
I don't know. I feel like they should have investigated that piece a little bit more. But I mean, maybe they have some sort of something that kind of, I don't know.
It's just a really big mystery.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep.
Weird,
And that's
weird.
it. That's it for this week. And I will see you in person
Yes, on Friday.
soon. I'm so excited.
It'll be interesting.
So
It'll be an
we
interesting
will
trip.
hopefully update you guys with something cool that we're doing. It's still unknown what we're doing, but hopefully it's cool, and hopefully you guys get to see a little extra fun stuff. We'll keep you updated.
Yes.
As always, as we always say, you can. I love that line. I told you I was going to use it. I told you I was going to use it, so I'm doing it.
I know you did.
You can listen to us pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter. Hit us up, like
We're
us,
not on Twitter.
Email us. We're not on freaking Twitter.
We're not on
Instagram.
Twitter. We're on Instagram.
Maybe we need to make a Twitter after I said this.
I don't know.
That's hilarious that I just said that.
We're not on Twitter.
We might make a Twitter now because I said that.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope you guys keep listening. After this terrible outro.
Hey, you know
wait, I was going to say one more
happens.
thing. Oh, yeah. Email us up, guys.
Please.
goingmadpod@gmail.com. If you have anything you want us to talk about. Oh, shoot. I almost forgot one more thing, too.
Goodness.
Goodness, so much going on in my brain right now.
I know.
Okay, first of all, email us at goingmadpod@gmail.com if you have any stories you want us to tell, you want us something to research, you want a shout out, because I have a shout out to give.
Oh, okay.
Austin, here's your shout out that you requested. He's like, just give me a shout out in your podcast. So I'm like, okay, I will.
Austin, Holly's husband, Austin.
Yes, Holly's husband, Austin, and shout out to Holly. And and shout out to Holly for getting a baby, pushing a baby out.
Push that baby out.
Yep. Good job, you guys.
Yay.
She's beautiful. And that is it for real this time.
Okay.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.